welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Charlotte. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're not new, thank you so much for coming back. I love to see you, I love to have you, but let's just jump into the video. So as you will have seen from the title, from the intro, we are reading Little Women and then watching Greta Gerwig's film adaptation. I'm so excited. So one of my goals for this year is to read more classics. So I thought, let's kick 2024 off with a bang and let's start with Little Women. I have wanted to watch the film for a really long time, but when I had commented on a few TikToks about the film, everyone told me to read the book first. So that's what we're doing, and I thought I would just include both in one video and then we can talk about it, we can kind of compare. So I think this will probably be a full spoiler reading watching vlog, just so that we can have a little chinwag chit chat about what's going on. I am about to start Little Women and I am going to now set up my tabbing system for this. I think I'm gonna tab for each character. Okay, so I am all set up. I've got my tabbing system at the go. So this is what we are going with. These are the colours. And then we just have Meg, Jo, Beth, Amy, and then quotes. It's quite nice because all of their colours are nice and like distinct. That's why I might change Beth's colour actually, just because that yellow isn't sticking too well. But yeah, let's get set up and get reading. And this is the playlist that I'm going for. I was thinking I'd go for the film playlist, but I'm gonna give this one a go, see how I find it, and then maybe change to the film playlist. Now Sunday. I actually haven't picked the camera up for a couple of days. So I started Little Women on Thursday, and to be honest, I've not read a huge amount. So I think I read up to like 50 or 69 on Thursday, and I'm only on to 138. So I've really had like a few days away from reading, where I read the Alice 6 series like so intensely. I just needed, like, it didn't slump me, but I needed to just have like a little bit more relaxed time with reading. So it is Sunday. I'm gonna kind of sit down and really crack on with this. I really want to get kind of more into the story because I don't feel like I know what's going on really. Like, there's not really a plot right now, so I want to try to get into it a bit more and see hopefully if there is more of a story that kind of comes to light. The main thoughts that I have right now is that Nesta from Akatar is like seriously Meg March coded. Like, they are the same character in a different font. Like, they are so similar. Like, they're just from a different time and from a different book, like so similar. Yeah, that's kind of my only thoughts. I did find an audiobook on Spotify that's like each chapter is an episode, so I may listen to that whilst I'm reading today, just to kind of help out with keeping me in the zone, because I did kind of find that I had been like just drifting a little bit. So I kind of just want to get back into the zone. might be about to die because I just remembered that scene in Friends. And doesn't Rachel tell Joey? She's like, Beth dies.
Beth dies.
I think I might be at that part because she's got scarlet fever. We're gonna keep reading and listening, but I took a little break to watch the Packers game, but not all of it. I watched a little bit. But anyway, back to Little Women. It's time for a little update. So I'm using my phone as a bookmark, even though my bookmark is literally next to me. So last night I was like, Beth is gonna die. Beth didn't die. So now I don't know if that was maybe like not a real spoiler, like from the Friends episode. So I really have no idea what's going on again. But I have just gotten to part 2. As soon as I got to part 2, I was like, oh, this is like the perfect place for an update. Meg is about to get married to Mr. Brooke, which all seemed super random. He was like, I love you. I was like, have you two spoken? And then all she did was stand up to him in front of Art March. And they were like, well, yeah, we're getting married now. Which, like, I guess is like of the time. But as a modern reader, like, it obviously just feels a bit funny, doesn't it? But I've been listening to it on 2 times speed because I'm not gonna lie, I just want to get through it now because the reason that I was so intrigued by this book is because of the clips that I'd seen from the movie and like the big speeches that we get from like Amy and Joe. And when I got to like, when I was reading this, I was like, when are we getting that stuff? Like, because right now they're children. But it sounds like we are going to get kind of Meg's wedding, which means that it must be 3 years time because they were very adamant that she like wouldn't get married till she was 20. So I'm guessing we're doing a time skip for part 2, but hopefully it will start to be more like the book that I was hoping for, praying for. I have 100 pages left of the book of Little Women. Like, my current thoughts are where I had kind of based like what I thought this book was going to be about off of like the TikToks I'd seen that are like obviously the big kind of speeches, like Joe's speech, Amy's speech. I thought the whole book was going to be that. Like, I thought it was very much going to be a story about kind of sisters that had always been compared, one like being so like this incredible writer that got all of the opportunities whilst Amy got nothing. Like, that was very much kind of what I went into the story thinking it was going to be, and that isn't what the story is. So I feel a little bit missold by TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, I am enjoying it, but obviously like I only have 100 pages left and I've still not got like the main, like, unless they wrote the monologues for the like the film adaptation and the film adaptation is going to be really different, then like I really don't get, like, I'm just confused right now about how we're getting from like what goes on in the book to what happens in the film. Because like Joe's been to New York and Amy was traveling Europe. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna go back to reading anyway and hopefully all of these mysteries will get answered in the next 100 pages. So a bit of an update about where I'm at right now. So Beth is dead, Amy and Laurie are engaged, and Jo is like started writing again, and she started to see some success again with her writing. Again, like just none of this is where I thought it would going, and I'm really intrigued, like are we ever gonna get Amy's speech? Like, is that like literally right at the end? Because I'm on page 507, so I literally have 60 pages left. I'm very intrigued about where the next 60 pages are gonna go. But yeah, let's just keep reading, I guess.
Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood, Jesus. Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Nothing but the blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus.
Okay, I've just finished. I didn't realise, so I've not seen the film, I think I said. I've seen the clips of the film on TikTok. I assumed it was like a straight adaptation. I'm really excited to watch the film now. Like, I'm more excited to watch the film now I've read the book, because I'm like, how do we get the iconic moments that I have seen on TikTok? Jo and Amy both seem to just completely give up. And I'm like, hee hee, we're married now. We're not giving up, but hee hee, we're married now. What? What? I'm assuming we get like a Greta Gerwig occasion of Little Women. And I feel excited for that. I feel excited for the fact that maybe in the film, we're not just gonna decide that because we're married, we can abandon everything that we ever dreamed of. Because even like the last chapter when they have the conversation about like how, oh, like I'm so far away from like the castle that I wanted to be on, like when they kind of have that chapter where they discuss like all of their hopes and dreams, and now they're like, oh, I'm so far away from that. And they're like, yeah, but I'm happy. It's like, what? Like, I really thought this book was being like quite progressive in like the fact that like Jo didn't want to get married. Amy was like, yeah, I just want to be an artist. Jo was like, I just want to be a writer. Like Beth obviously didn't have any goals. And even Meg, like she didn't really have the aspiration of getting married. Like when they were talking about their dreams, she just wanted nice things. And then it's like one dies and the other will just get married. I can't even begin to think of a rating for this book. Like I really need to sit on it, maybe have a little read on Goodreads, because like I know this is a classic, like a classic should be rated highly. But I just feel really disappointed. And I know it's because I went into it thinking it would be like what I'd seen from the film. But yeah.
And without further ado, thank you for your favour. I will take my seat as part of the club.
Never.
Never? What? Why?
I'm a failure. Joe is in New York being a writer, and I'm a failure.
That's quite a statement to make at 20.
Well, Rome took all the vanity out of me, and Paris made me realize I'd never be a genius, so I'm giving up all my foolish artistic hopes.
Why should you give up, Amy? You have so much talent.
Talent
and
isn't
energy.
genius, and no amount of energy can make it so. I want to be great or nothing, and I will not be some commonplace dauber, and I don't intend to try anymore.
It has officially been like pretty much a day since I finished the book Little Women, and then I watched the film last night. So let's talk about my thoughts. So I'm going to start with my thoughts on the film compared to the book. So I actually really enjoyed the film. I think I might have enjoyed the film maybe more than the book. I'm not too sure. I really liked the way that they ended the film. I thought that was so much more powerful than the ending of the book. So I really liked the way that the movie ended, where we kind of find out that Jo is actually the author of Little Women, because that's where I thought the book was going the whole time. Like I thought we were going to kind of get to the end and Jo was going to be like, oh, I've written this book called Little Women, which is about us and our lives. I don't know if that's just because I've read a lot of like more modern books that have that kind of ending, and I was just expecting that. But that didn't happen in the book. But it did happen in the movie, which I really, really liked. And I also liked the fact that with that happening in the movie, we ended up getting a conversation between Jo and the editor that was about the fact that Jo had wanted the ending that she stayed single, she didn't get married, she was a spinster. And the editor was like, no, she needs to get married. Like, this book will not sell. Like, it will go really badly if that doesn't happen. So I really liked that we had that conversation, because one of the things that I felt about the book was that the character arches just don't match the characters. And I definitely think in the movie, the way they adapted certain things made the arches of the characters work so much better. Like how they kind of made it so Amy had always had feelings for Laurie. Like that was a really, really important part of the book, of the movie, and it made Amy's character arch make so much more sense. Because in the book, when Amy and Laurie decide to get married, it's kind of like, this is really, like, really strange and really random, and it almost just doesn't make any sense. But I think the main thing that I didn't like about the movie was how much of the book that they actually like completely cut out. A lot of the stuff that got cut was very much the things that made it like who the characters were, and like really delved into the class side of things, which is obviously one of the main reasons that warrants a book to become a classic. Like, it is something that is super important. So it was just kind of a shame to see that gone. I also found that the monologues that I was expecting, they were in the book, and I didn't realise until I was watching the film, but they tweaked some of the lines and some of the things. So like, Amy doesn't say in the book like, I'm a failure, like Jo's in New York and I'm a failure. Like, she doesn't have that line, but the conversation that is actually happening in that scene does happen. But I really don't know what to rate this book. The thing that I'm struggling with is that I think I did enjoy it. I just didn't like the character arches and the way it ended. Like, for me, it was really disappointing seeing like these strong women that hadn't ever really dreamed of getting married, apart from maybe Meg. Like, I think she definitely had some aspirations around that. Like, seeing these strong women then see Meg get married and be like, oh, that's what we need to do. And it's just really disappointing, because there's so many times throughout the story where especially Jo talks about how like she doesn't want to get married, like she wants to be independent, and then to see her just kind of throw that all away for a romance that doesn't feel developed is just so disappointing. And this is something that I think like, I don't know how to put my words together, but obviously like the way the romance is told in the book like is all very coy because of how the time was. So it makes it really difficult, because it's like we're seeing Jo throw her like life away for this relationship that just doesn't seem to exist. Like, it's just sad. The other thing actually that I really liked in the film was that they made Aunt March die before Jo is married, so that Jo inherits the house and Jo then decides that she wants to make it, and this is something that she's doing by herself. She decides to make it a school for girls and for boys, and the only reason it's for boys is because they're like, well, what about Demi, like Meg's son? And I really liked that. I thought that was so much more impactful than kind of like when in the book when Jo was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a school for boys, I was like, what? Like, where is this coming from? You have seen both of your youngest sisters, and you and your older sister as well did not get an education because of the school. Like, especially Amy, like they pulled Amy out of school because they thought the school was so bad. So for her to then be like, yeah, I'm just gonna make a school for boys, I was like, what on earth? Like, what are we doing? This seems to just go against, like, I really found that like the last kind of 2 chapters just felt like different characters in a different book. that is kind of it's the only thing I didn't like about this book, I would say. The last 2 chapters, it just felt like I was reading about different characters in a different book. And then for the movie, I just wish that more was included. I wish we got to see more of Amy's travels before she saw Laurie. I wish that some of the timeline with her and Laurie was a little bit better. Some of the conversations that happen in like a really sporadic order in the film, which kind of doesn't make a huge amount of sense. But yeah, that is the end of this video. Otherwise I'm going to be talking for a really long time and I didn't want this to be a super long video. But thank you so much for watching. Please let me know your thoughts on both the book and the film down below, because I am really curious to know. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more book content, more classics content. Have a lovely day and I will catch you in the next one.